Hi everyone, I'm Anurag Singh and I'm a third year law student at National Law University Delhi. With me today I have Aakanksha Jadhav, who is a final year law student at NUJS Kolkata, and she's also an incoming legal advisor at Linklaters London. In today's video, we'll be talking about her experience at NUJS, which would help many of you to know about campus life at NUJS and also about the future prospects of studying at this university. To start with, Akanksha, could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. First off, thank you so much for inviting me for this session. I completely understand the confusion that CLAT aspirants may have when it comes to choosing a college. There exists an information asymmetry when it comes to choosing a college because the information that exists online may not always be the true picture when it comes to the college. Coming to myself, of course, Anurag has introduced me. I'm Aakanksha, a final year law student. For me, NUJS has worked out very well. I've done theater in law school, I've done poetry, basically all the things that I'd like to do. And despite that, I have achieved what I set out to achieve in my career. So talking about NUJS is honestly one of my favorite things to do. So really looking forward to how the session goes.
Right. So, now how has been your experience over the past 4 years? You mentioned that you did theater, you did poetry. So, how has been the experience in total?
Before I answer this, I want to make it clear that everyone's experience in law school is different and there's no one objective experience. And unfortunately, your experience depends on a lot of circumstances, like the privilege that you're exposed to, the mental health capacity that you may have. It's an unfortunate truth, but I like to believe that at NUJS, despite these hurdles, there is some space that you get to develop yourself and maybe to make an attempt to overcome them. So I come from Aurangabad, which is relatively a small city. And when I came to NUJS, there was no one from my city in like the university whom I knew. Um, Initially, though, I was a bit hesitant to participate in things. My experience through these 4 years has been absolutely amazing because despite all the hesitance, I still ended up participating in things. Some worked out, some didn't. That's fine. But the one thing that I would say that sets NUJS apart is that it gives you the freedom to really understand what you like, to try out different things, and to take initiative to build something of your own. I don't think a lot of law schools give you the kind of space to end up like handling everything on your own, a whole entire theater production, to develop your own startup in law school, as so many NUJS alumni have gone on to do. So I think that way my experience in NUJS has been full of learning. I did some debating in my first year, did a moot. I was a part of the official student body as the press secretary. So for me personally, the experience has been really fulfilling. And the last thing that like to mention that sort of I feel personally that sets NUJS apart is that despite it being competitive, I never felt that it got toxic to the extent where I had to I couldn't find my friends. I didn't connect with anyone in law school. I feel like that's a problem that a lot of people face. And I'm sure in my batch also there must be some who do not agree with my experience, but I feel like NUJS is a place where you can form good friendships.
Right. That sums it up really well. How's campus life at NUJS in terms of sports and cultural activities?
So I'm sure a lot of people have heard about NUJS's infrastructure, and I would say those aren't good things that you've heard. But I think one of the advantages of being in the middle of the city is that everything is so close to you. So we have the Sports Authority of India facility like right next to our campus. And I don't know what the current status is, but when I was in first and second year, when classes were going on physically, we had some sort of arrangement with Sports Authority of India, wherein we could use some of their facilities. So despite there not being full-fledged sporting infrastructure inside the campus, we did have very easy avenues to access it outside campus. Apart from that, we are also the organizer of Invicta, which is one of the largest law school sports fests in the country. So we do take sports seriously at NUJS. Apart from that, we have a chord basically in the academic block where a lot of people play sports during the evening. We regularly have these interbat sport competitions. So I don't think it should be a concern for anyone that coming to NUJS would hamper their sporting hobbies in any way.
Right, that there's a lot of doubt there. Coming to the part of hostel and mess, how does the allotment happen in terms of hostel? Is it on sharing basis or single basis?
Okay, sure. So the boys' hostel works a little bit differently from the girls' hostel. Usually, the allotment is random or alphabetical. I'm not too sure. But some of the first year boys are allotted faculty flats, which are sort of like shared rooms. Uh, and the other boys are allotted rooms in the boys' hostel, which are, I think, triple sharing in the beginning. For the girls, they are usually allotted dormitories, which are fully air conditioned. And some of them might be allotted double rooms. And the boys also may be allotted double rooms in some cases. A lot of people have apprehensions about the dormitories in specific. Honestly, I think it has been one of the best experiences of my life because when you come to college, you don't know anyone. And when you're forced to interact with people and to be with so many people different from yourself, it really leads to some growth and introspection. And I don't think that should be a concern. So personally, for me, it wasn't. And as you move to later years, like in your second and third year, the boys get double sharing rooms and the girls get double sharing rooms as well. And from third year onwards, getting single occupancy rooms, which for girls always happens from the third year.
Then what's the scenario with mess? Is it a regular mess or a pay as you eat option system, right?
No, it's not a paid mess. I think we pay a very nominal amount as our mess fees. In fact, our entire menu and how it functions is decided by the student-run mess committee. So we have a lot of say with regards to what's being served to us. And we have 4 meals. We have a breakfast in the morning. Then during the afternoon, we have lunch for 3 hours. And then we have snacks immediately after. And at night, of course, the dinner. I think non-veg is served around 3 times, 3 days in the week in the mess, which is also, and I think according to me, the food is quite decent according to mess standards. And apart from that, we also have a canteen within the college campus. The canteen is also pretty great. At the side gate, you have a lot of these stalls that serve you food. So, and there's of course like apart, I mean, in contrast to a lot of NLUs, there's 24/7 Swiggy and Zomato, which is a big deal. So I don't think food is a problem if like you're staying in NUJS.
Right, that sounds great. Coming to the part of academics, how does the curriculum looks like? Like, do you get to do some specialization when you are in your final year, or is it like a similar course for everyone?
So in the beginning, everybody has compulsory courses. Until your second year, of course, you have these BCI mandated courses that are same for everyone. However, from the third year, you have one elective and compulsory courses. So elective is a subject that you can choose. And going forward from third year, the number of electives begins to increase and the number of compulsories begins to decrease. So now that I'm in my fifth year, I only have 2 compulsory subjects and 3 electives. So you do have an option to choose from the subjects that you like as you progress.
Right. And as per your experience over the past few years, are the academics very rigorous at NUJS?
Well, offline, I would say it is rigorous, but not as rigorous as I have heard some other law schools to be. For instance, I have heard some other law schools to have a continuous evaluation method where they have like weekly tests and stuff. At NUJS, that's not the case. You have maybe a viva, a project component, and an end semester paper. Of course, you may have tests based on the faculty's discretion. So, but I would still say that at least the first and second year, you do need to put an effort in your academics. But I think that's a given at any national law university. However, I don't think the academics is so rigorous so as to, take away your time from essentials like mooting or all these other things that you want to do. So I think NUJS definitely gives you the space to explore all these other options that aid your development.
Right. And what are the daily timings of the classes and how many days in a week does that happen for?
So classes happen 5 days a week. Saturdays are discussion classes which may be taken by the faculty based on their discretion. And usually classes run on till like about 5. But it depends. So in the first year, you have 6 subjects. So you might have classes for a little longer. As you progress, you have 5 subjects. But again, it depends on what year you're in. So the class timings really vary.
And do you also get the option to be a part of any exchange program when you're in your final years?
On exchange programs, I think something was in the works. However, I would have to check that and get back to you. Maybe you could link it up in the description box after I find out the current status.
Sure, I like that. Coming to the part of competition, how's the mooting and ADR culture at NUJS? You also got that you have participated in some competitions. So how's the culture in general?
When it comes to all of these co-curriculars, I think the culture at NUJS is absolutely great. We are the only law school which has won Viz Vienna twice, and we recently won Viz Vienna. And apart from Viz, also we've done really well in other moots. So, and the kind of mentorship that you get at NUJS right from the beginning, you're allotted a moot mentor who helps you out with the internals process. I think all of that is really important when it comes to developing your skills. And again, the kind of support that you have from the university is also, I think it's admirable, because I've heard of other universities not giving out, exemptions or things like that when people have moot court competitions. However, at NUJS, I think if you make your case about your moot, I think the administration would give you, some sort of exemptions of like when on the day of your competition. So I think the mooting culture is great. You definitely have enough time to work seriously on your moot. And added to that, we have an alumni base who is done well in every moot. So, when it comes to coaching, I don't think that's an issue. Same with ADR or debating. We have a very rich debating circuit, which has won some major debating competitions. Same as mooting, you also have a debating mentorship program. You have an ADR mentorship program. So when you're in your first year, you really have the space to, develop these skills with the help of your seniors.
That sounds really great. On the part of internships, do you have any recruitment cell which allows internships to the students, and which year does that start happening from?
Yeah, definitely. We have the recruitment and placement committee at NUJS, which handles all of the internships. And recruitment at NUJS has always consistently been great. So, and I think the credit for that does go to the smooth functioning of the RPC. So I think I think one of the advantages of coming to a place like NUJS is that the recruitment machinery is really well oiled, and they've been doing this for years. So they really know how to get things done. Therefore, I don't think it's very difficult to get internships. Of course, I mean, during the pandemic, the scenario has become a little different, but every year you would be allotted, like the RPC policy is constructed in a way so as to ensure that maximum people get opportunities at NUJS and not just the people who are performing well.
Right. And how long is the summer and winter internship break at your university, and when does that usually take place?
So we have one break during Pujo that is for 1 month, usually around October, like whenever Pujo Diwali happens. And another break that we have is in the summer, which is for about 2 months. So you can fit in 2 internships during that time. Apart from that, senior students also might get exemptions for internships. But that policy is only applicable when it's about senior students and there's like a serious chance of recruitment. But the university does its best to support your recruitment opportunities.
Right. I see that there are a lot of blogs and journals of NUJS which are quite famous. So is it a good place for those who want to join academia after graduation?
Oh, definitely. I was a part of the NUJS Law Review, and I think it's one of those student-run journals in the country which is really working consistently and has been at the top of the charts also. So I think it's a good place to learn, to hone your writing skills, to learn how to edit. And I think the kind of mentorship that's provided by committees like the Law Review and other committees as well, it's instrumental in developing people who are interested in academia.
Right. And also initially when we talked about the academics part, you said that people do get a little bit of time to manage other things. Do you think it's a preferable option for someone who wants to offer UPSC or judiciary after the graduation?
I definitely think so. I think the culture of these examinations at NUJS is growing. I think we also now have a dedicated cell for judicial and civil services examination preparation. So of course you will find, your pool of people who are consistently working towards that goal, who organize these talks where people come and talk to you. So I think the fact that you have this space means everybody is working towards the goal that they want. And I think that's very important because no matter what you want to do, I feel like at NUJS, you will find the time and space and the people to do it.
Right. All right, I guess that's all for the question. Just before concluding, any final tips for the coming first years?
Um, well, I understand that's very difficult to choose a college. And of course, anyone who you talk to is going to say good things about their own college. But I would suggest that you talk to as many people as possible and try to compare these colleges. And I think when it comes to at least the top few NLUs, the difference isn't that much material when it comes to opportunities. Of course, everywhere it will come down to the choices you make. But just culture wise, some places might be more suitable to you. So try to find out things about that as well. So to give you an example, if you're someone who likes a very regimented lifestyle where where you like someone telling you what to do, how to use your time, and you find it a little difficult to organize things yourself, then maybe you might find it a bit challenging at NUJS initially, because here you're treated like an adult who knows what to do with your time. And then what you do with it is completely up to you, and what choices you make is up to you. So I think it's important to talk to people about these things as well. But at the end of the day, don't stress about it. Wherever you go, if you make good use of your time, you are going to end up in a good place. It's nothing to stress too much about.
Thank you so much for your time, Aakanksha. I hope that this would have helped all the viewers to get a detailed perspective about this.